I'm not accepting this plea. She's alleged to have committed a theft from the Junior League. 2024 CR 011624, State versus Jan Hawkey, the application for deferred adjudication with your attorney. Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of theft, $750 up to $2,500 as a Class A misdemeanor? Range of punishment is anywhere, well, it's up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail and up to a $4,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea, if you're not a U.S. citizen, you will be deported, denied naturalization, and the right to re-enter the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense under count 2 of theft, $750 to $2,500. They're waiving count 1. They are recommending deferred adjudication. They say that you've paid $1,077.01 to the Junior League of San Antonio. And I'm assuming there are no other outstanding restitutions.
There's one that we've got on there below the line, Your Honor. There was an insurance claim that was made by the complainant by Berkshire Hathaway. It's reflected at toward the bottom.
All right. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Your Honor, we understand that we can address the court on the any restitution to third parties, but yes, other than that, it is our agreement.
State, is that the plea?
That's the plea, Your Honor.
State is recommending that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 2 years. They're recommending restitution to Berkshire Hathaway in the amount of $9,799.42 and $227.71 to Visa. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offense, the lesser included offense, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence.
We'll offer Exhibit 1 with all attachments.
No objections, Your Honor.
All right. Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
If I may, we did make an amendment to the stipulations in concert for agreement with the ADA. We have marked out all. We're not saying that all the stipulations are true and correct. We have a controversy on the amount, the final amount. So
I think the issue, Judge, is that if you're intending to impose the restitution to Berkshire Hathaway and Visa, they're going to ask for a restitution hearing. Is the main issue here.
Well, I am going to ask to a restitution hearing.
Okay.
And the fact these stipulations, you can't just cross out that you're not stipulating that the evidence is true and correct because you haven't stipulated which party you're saying is not correct. When you cross out the stipulations, then you're saying we're not stipulating to any of it. So you all will have to correct your paperwork.
Judge, if I may, we've done this before. We are
Not with
pleading
me.
Actually, I have on one prior plea on a case that was a family violence case, Judge, in this court. But we are pleading no contest, which means we don't necessarily agree, but we're not fighting about it, which is provided in the law for that purpose. Having us do, we've also marked out judicial confession and changed it to no contest.
Oh, you can change all of that to no contest, but you can't change what you're stipulating to, because otherwise she's not even stipulating to the fact that she owed $1,000 to the Junior League.
Well, Judge, she doesn't have to stipulate to it. No, she's pleading no contest. And so that is the plea that's provided in order for people who disagree with what's being said to be able to move forward with a plea. I've never had a problem with that before. I've done it in this court.
No, I tell you what has been done. There has been, with regards to the indictment that's a part of it, where you say, I am not contesting anything, and you take out the judicial confession, but the evidence is the evidence that is presented. And then the court makes a ruling on whether or not that evidence is sufficient. But if you're saying we're not stipulating to the evidence that is being presented to the court, then she's not even stipulating to the fact that she's alleged to have committed a theft from the Junior League.
I think we've got a clean copy of the paperwork, Judge, that we can.
All right.
Judge,
swap out.
if I may, we can't stipulate to the amount, so we would have at the very
That's why you have it. Nobody ever stipulates to an amount. That's why you all have contested hearings and I make a decision on whether or not they owe it or not.
And Judge, and I know we're getting in sort of ahead of ourselves, but I'm asking for the court to not order restitution to the third parties. I don't think that that's appropriate.
Well, that's where you present evidence and I make a decision, or you present some kind of law and I make a decision on whether or not that amount that is below the line, because it's not a part of your agreement, then I make a decision on whether or not that amount should be paid or any amount should be paid to Visa or Berkshire.
And Your Honor, it's what I'm requesting the court to do is to not order that, so that can be handled in a civil court. They are set up for that. That's the way the normal course goes on these things, and it's going to be. We would need a forensic accountant to go through this. It's going to be a very long and arduous restitution.
I understand what everybody is saying. I want to let everybody know I'm internalizing what's being said. What I am telling the parties is this. If she's not stipulating to the evidence that's been presented by the state, that means she's not stipulating that she even committed a theft with the junior league. I don't know why she paid the amount to the junior league, because she's not stipulating to that. Things that are below the line, that means that it's contested. That means that I'll hear evidence. I'll make a decision on whether or not restitution should be paid to Berkshire or Visa. That's something that I will hear. The only thing you're allowed to do, I don't contest, is when they have in the plea paperwork where it has the indictment on or about whatever. That's like on or about whatever I judicially admit. You can scratch that out and you put, I'm not contesting anything. But for the stipulated evidence, the evidence is what's being presented. Otherwise, if you're not stipulating to any of the evidence, then there's no plea.
Judge, we're willing to stipulate to everything except the final
Then
amount.
you all need to change your paper.
And Your Honor, I know to press a point on this, it's my understanding, my belief that the law allows us to not stipulate to true and correct. The judge has the evidence, and the judge can look at that and decide that they find those documents credible and find that they are true.
I can't do any of that if y'all are not stipulating to anything. Then everything is a challenge. So this is what I will tell y'all to make it simple. I'm not accepting this plea.
Okay, we'll redo the paperwork. Would you accept if we just simply put on that we do not stipulate to the final amount?
Y'all do the paperwork, and if y'all want to put in there that the final amount from Berkshire and Visa is contested, which to me, you've already said that. That's why it's below the line. If y'all want to do that, fine. But everything else, no.
And you understand that all the money was for the junior league, but they just filed an insurance claim and a Visa claim.
Here's the thing. I haven't read any of the evidence, so I don't know what y'all are presenting because y'all haven't stipulated to anything. I don't know why there's an objection to outside the agreement. Everything that is outside your agreement is contested, and I'll hear evidence. This argument that you all are making on she doesn't owe to Berkshire, she doesn't owe to Visa, we haven't even got to that point yet because nobody's stipulated to anything. And when things are below that line, that means that it's contested. That means I'll hear arguments. I'll hear whatever kind of law somebody wants to present me on whether or not you should be paying that under this cause number.
And Judge, the reason I am making this issue is because it says in the documents that higher amount. So we don't want to stipulate to that. So we'll change the document to say that, and we'll reapproach.
Oh, y'all need to reprint that entire document out because that's been sworn to. She's been sworn to that specific document by the clerk. And if people start making changes to that document, it's no longer a sworn document.
We can do that, Judge.
Okay. You know what the person's family would have been saying? I don't understand why the security guard didn't at least knock on the door or do this and that.
Yeah.
Showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of assault, bodily injury on a security officer as a third-degree felony? Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand, if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Admit to acting as a party with Zachary Xavier Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
And the court will review states exhibits 1 and attachments. Oh, this was Bo Wood.
I know. And she liked him.
Really?
You liked Bo, didn't you? Yeah.
No, I never met him.
Oh, you didn't
Oh,
get to meet
no,
her?
I think he
He
had
passed
passed.
before.
Yeah. You would have liked him.
Yeah.
I've been told that.
Yeah. He was a nice man.
Really?
Yes.
Nicer than me.
I don't think anyone ever had a bad word to say about him. And he never said a bad word about anyone. Always in a great mood. I never saw him
Awesome.
unhappy or mean to anybody.
He
That's
was really a class act.
Court would defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
She's 23, Your Honor.
Mhm.
She works full time at Amazon.
Mhm.
She works an overnight shift from
6 to 4:30 a.m.
6 to 4:30 a.m. 10-hour shifts. She's hopeful this is not going to cost her job. But she also has two
little
children,
girls.
2 little girls. And so between work and her children, and her husband is a co-defendant, her common law husband is a co-defendant. I don't know what the court might be considering in terms of community service, but we're asking for some consideration financially in terms of community service. She works a lot.
All right. How old are your children?
5 and 3.
So why did the 2 people, the complainants in this case, why did they think there was an argument going on between you?
I guess because there was an argument between me and my husband, but it was just, talking, a little bittering. That's it. We had agreed we were going to go inside upstairs. And that's when I guess they saw us and then they followed us upstairs. And I had told them, like, can you leave us alone? We're just going to go inside. He's going to cook me something. We're just going to eat and go to bed because it was already close to midnight, I believe, already.
So where were your children?
They were inside with my mom and my brother. They were already in bed by like 10.
Right, because the complainants in this case are saying that they saw him with his arms around your shoulders and they thought you all were fighting.
No, it's because he was helping me upstairs because I was like really drunk. Like I did not have any control of my body. So he was helping me upstairs.
So that's part of, and I get, we've had a little bit of angst over this. Nobody she's not saying that her husband assaulted her.
Oh, no. I'm not going there. Where I'm going with it is this. San Antonio in the United States and other places as well have issues with domestic violence.
Okay.
And always it's best to report whatever you see, and then you can apologize later.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, maybe you're saving someone's life.
Yeah, of course.
Because in this situation, they're saying that they thought maybe there was domestic violence going on.
Mhm.
According to the police report, they're saying they didn't step into the home. They were just waiting to call somebody to come and see what's going on.
Mhm.
So we would not even be here, if I'm reading the police report correctly, if everybody would have just held their positions. And by everybody, I mean you and your husband, just hold your positions. They would have called the police. The police would have came. They would have said, hey, there's nothing going on here. Instead, you're here on a felony case.
Mhm.
There's the security guard was banging on the door,
Mhm.
which caused, and it was waking the kids up. And so that, not that it's an excuse, we understand, but they were very upset by that because they felt like she could have just called the police and didn't have to bang on the door like that. I guess I can hear what
And
the judges.
I see both sides of it, but you know what else could have happened? There could have been an incident where it's domestic violence
Mhm.
and, maybe somebody was beating on someone And then if something would have happened, something disastrous where somebody's killed, you know what the person's family would have been saying? I don't understand why the security guard didn't at least knock on the door or do this and that.
Yeah.
But I felt that too about this. It's a tough thing to come. She has no record. She has no history involved with the criminal justice system, and I don't think she ever will again. I think she's going to be a very successful probationer. So
Drink alcohol while you're on probation.
Oh, no, I don't want to.
I mean,
I'm good.
but a lot of people think that they can, even if there's a party. I know there are holidays coming up, but when you're on probation, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. This is Texas. You're not allowed to smoke marijuana or any of that. You understand?
Do that in the first place. No.
All right.
No, ma'am.
This is what the court will do. $500 fine that will be probated. Does anyone want to speak on the term of deferred? You all are asking for 4.
Just a recommendation. I think maybe Ms. Efron wanted to be heard on that.
I felt 4 was a little much for this circumstances. I would ask for 2.
All right. 3 years deferred adjudication. 150 hours of community service restitution. I'm going to order parenting classes.